Hello everyone, welcome to the course Power System Operation and Control. The course code is BTEEC 701. Let's see the prerequisite of this course. Uh, to learn this course or to understand the concepts in Power System Operation and Control, it requires to know the details and the prerequisite knowledge of the course Power System 2, which you have learned in the last year. This course is having midterm test of 20 marks, internal assessment of 20 marks, and end-term exam of 60 marks. This course is having total credits 3 and 3 hours per week is what the teaching scheme of Power System Operation and Control. Let's see the course objectives. First, course objective is to understand the fundamental concept in power system. Then, to obtain mathematical models of synchronous machine, excitation, and speed governing system. Third objective is to analyze the transient stability of the power system. The fourth objective is to understand the economic operation of power system. And the last objective is to explain various techniques of a reactive power and voltage control. Let's see the course outcome. At the end of the course, students will be able to explain the fundamental concepts of power system, design the mathematical model of synchronous machine, design the mathematical model of excitation system and speed governing system, analyze the transient stability of power system using swing equation and equal area criteria, analyze the economic operation of the power system, and to explain the methods of voltage control. Let's see the curriculum of this course. First unit is consistent fundamentals of power system, in which we will study the concept of real and reactive powers as well the complex power. Then we will see the representation techniques of the power system, which is a per unit representation. Then we will also going to learn about the transmission capacity, load characteristics, a real power balance and its effect on the power system frequency. As well, we will see the load frequency mechanism, means the relationship in between load and frequency. Then reactive power, its impact, and how to balance the reactive power in the system. Also, we will see few of the on-load tap changing transformer and regulating transformer to regulate or to control the reactive power. So all these fundamental concepts we will see in the first unit. In the second unit, we will see the modeling of synchronous machine. In this, schematic diagram, physical description of armature and field structure, machines with multiple pole pairs, magnetomotive force waveforms, direct and quadrature axis. Then mathematical description of synchronous machine. So in this, we will see the basic equation of synchronous machine, stator circuit equation, stator self and stator mutual and stator to rotor mutual inductances, DQ zero transformation, flux linkages and voltage equation for stator rotor in DQ coordinates, that is direct and quadrature. Then electrical power and torque, physical interpretation of DQ transformation. So in this unit number 2, we will see the modeling of mathematical modeling rather of synchronous machine, which will be utilized for the further analysis purpose. The third unit is for the modeling of excitation and speed governing system. In this, we will see the elements of an excitation system, types of excitation system, its control and preventive functions, then functional block diagram of power generation and control, schematic of hydroelectric plant, classical transfer function of hydroelectric turbine, spatial characteristics of hydroelectric turbine, electrical analogy of hydraulic turbine, governor for hydraulic turbine. In this, requirement of a transient loop, Then block diagram of governor with transient droop compensation, steam turbine modeling, single reheat tandem, compounded type, and cross compounded type. So overall in this chapter number 3, we will see the modeling of excitation and speed governing system. Unit number 4, it is about the analysis of transient stability. So with the help of swing equation as well the equilibrium criteria, we are going to find out the transient stability of the power system. Then in the unit number 5, we will move or discuss about the economic operation of the power system. In this distribution of load between units within a plant for the economic dispatch, transmission loss as a function of plant generation, calculation of loss coefficient, distribution of loads between plants with the special reference to the steam and hydro plants. Then automatic load dispatching, unit commitment, constraint on unit commitment, then spinning reserve, thermal and hydro constraints, methods of unit commitment, and the priority list and dynamic programming. So overall, in the unit number 5, we will see the aspects of economic dispatch for the economic operation of the power system. In unit number 6, we will see the reactive power and voltage control, production and absorption of reactive power, means sources and control techniques of reactive power. In this, methods of voltage control, shunt reactors, shunt capacitors, series capacitor, synchronous condenser, static VAR systems, principles of transmission system compensation, and modeling of reactive compensating devices. So unit number 6 is dedicated for reactive power, and while with the help of reactive power control, we can able to control the system voltage, which is a very basic parameter of the power system. For this course, we will use reference books, following reference books. First, P. Kundur, titled Power System Stability and Control, McGraw-Hill publication. Then Gross C.A., titled Power System Analysis, McGraw-Hill. Then few more books are from foreign authors. Aril Gajje, Computerized Power System Analysis, again from McGraw-Hill publication. Found Anderson, Power System Control Dynamics. Kaushik, Computerized Power System Analysis. And Padiyar KR, Power System Dynamics, of New Age International publication. So this is about the very basic details. Now on each and every unit, you will get the videos or video lectures. So in the description box of those video lectures, you will find one test based on that particular video lecture. So for the assessment purpose, we are going to use this particular format. So when you see the video lectures, don't miss to give that MCQ test. That test will contain 5 MCQ questions or 5 marks MCQ questions. So for the assessment purpose, it needs you to attempt that test. At the end of each and every unit, once again, we will conduct one more test. And based on this, we will assess till the end of this pandemic situation. Once we start with the regular classes, we can have the conventional mode of assessment in the academics. So till that, it needs you to follow these details for the subject power system operation and control. As far as already I have explained about the structure or the teaching and examination scheme for this subject. So I request you just go through the details of the curriculum or syllabus. It is available on www.dwatu.ac.in. This is the official website of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Technological University. So for the more details of curriculum for final year class as well the subject power system operation and control, just go through the official website of the DBAR2. Let us start with the AC power. The behavior of the AC machines and systems are often easier to understand by working with the power rather than working with the voltages and currents. So it is very easy to understand the behavior of the AC systems or the machines with the help of analysis of AC power. Active, reactive and apparent power apply to steady state AC circuits with sinusoidal waveforms only cannot be used to describe the transient behaviors, and it cannot be used to describe the DC circuits. Let's see the instantaneous power. As all we know that power is the product of the instantaneous voltage and current, which is mathematically P of t is equals to V of t into I of t, where P of t is instantaneous power, V of t instantaneous voltage, and I of t is the instantaneous current. Let's see in this waveform, the x-axis denotes the degree of angle, the electrical degrees, and the y-axis denotes the magnitude of electrical power, electrical voltage, and electrical current. So here you can see in this waveform that this waveform is of the voltage waveform, this waveform is of current waveform, and the larger one is of the power waveform, which is the product of instantaneous voltage and instantaneous current. Here is the effective voltage is 115 volts, peak voltage is 162 volts, then effective current is 5.3 ampere and peak current is 7.5 amperes. So 0 to 360 degree is for the one cycle, and the time period of this cycle is 1/60 seconds. So here we can see the relationship in between voltage and current. The voltage magnitude is 115 volts, current magnitude is 5.3 volts, and the phase difference in between voltage phasor and current phasor is 50 degrees electrical. Let's see the active or real power. The average value of the instantaneous power over one cycle of the voltage is given by P is equals to the time period 0 to 2 pi V into sine of omega of t, I into sine of omega t minus phi d omega t. The effective power that does real work, which is P is equals to V into I into cos of phi, where V is the RMS voltage, I is the RMS current in amperes, and phi is the phase angle difference between voltage and the current. Let's see the reactive power. The circulating power Q in the circuit measured in volt amperes, reactive, that is VAR. The power which does not do any real work is the reactive power, which is given by Q is equals to V into I into sine of theta. Let's see the sources of reactive power, which are nothing but the reactive loads, which consist inductive loads as well the capacitive loads. So inductive loads consumes a reactive power where current lags the voltage. Here you can see this is the circuit in which generator is supplying to the load 30 amperes of current at the 120 of volts, 3.6 kVAR, that is reactive power the generator is supplying to the load of 4J. Here is the current and voltage phasor relationship. So as it is an inductive load, current lags the voltage as shown in the phasor diagram. Second is the capacitive load. it generates the reactive power, and in this case current leads the voltage. So here we can see this is the voltage phasor and current phasor leads the voltage. If the circuit is purely capacitive circuit, then it will lead by an angle 90 degrees. If the circuit is purely inductive circuit, then the current will lag the voltage at an angle 90 degrees. Let's see what is apparent power. It is a complex power expressed by the letter S associated with the voltage phasor and the conjugate of the current phasor. S is equals to V into conjugate of I. In terms of magnitude, magnitude of S is equals to magnitude of V into magnitude of I. Let's see the PQ and S relationship, that is active power, reactive power and apparent power relationship. As all we know, the power triangle, the angle, the magnitude of apparent power is given by square root of P square plus Q square. As well, the apparent power magnitude is given by multiplication of voltage and the current. Active power is nothing but S into cos of phi. Reactive power is nothing but S into sine of phi. And S is nothing but P plus JQ. So in the power triangle, we can see all three powers in each side of the right angle triangle. So on this, we have the reactive power, and adjacent we have the real or active power, and abscissa we are having the apparent power. The angle in between real or active power and the apparent power is the phi. Here also we can see the angle phi in between voltage and current phasor. Let's move towards the next, which is a power factor. It is the ratio of the active power P and the apparent power S. It is expressed as a simple number or a percentage. It can never be a greater than a unity. Mathematically, power factor is equals to active power divided by apparent power. Cosine of the angle in between voltage and current is its definition. Phase angle in between voltage and current phi. A power factor is given by cosine of the angle in between voltage and current. Power factor is said to be leading or lagging. Power factor is lagging if the current lags behind the voltage, especially in the case of the inductive circuits. And the power factor is leading if the current leads the voltage. This is the case of a purely capacitive circuit or the capacitive circuit. As I said, in the purely inductive circuit, current lags the voltage by an angle 90 degree, and in purely capacitive circuit, the current leads the voltage by an angle 90 degree.